Mukuru slums, one of the sprawling informal settlements in the country, stretches to tens of kilometers. But apart from being home to thousands, this is also a superhighway of high-voltage power lines upon which the transmission of high-voltage electric energy is transported to various parts of the country. Like any other superhighway, no one is supposed to build on the wayleave. The nearest human settlement should be at least 12 meters from the transmission lines. But here, on the ground, things are different. Residents have built both residential and commercial buildings right under the power lines, oblivious of the dangers.
Those are lines which are not supposed to overfly any structure that is inhabited. Okay, so it poses a safety risk to the public, to the people who are staying under those lines.
The demand for housing facilities is far much more than supply, making housing very expensive in urban areas, and those who cannot afford are forced to settle on power wayleave zones.
Unachua vile watu watasaidi wakachenga hapa, si kupenda kwa watu, ni umaskini.
Our investigations reveal that for some to be allocated space here, you have to pay a certain amount of money to the chief and the area leaders, whom in turn give you permission to build and own this piece of land.
Serikali inapitanga hapa, chifu si ndiye anachukua pesa.
Wenyewe tumechenga mahali pabaya. Lakini hao watu wanachukua pesa. Ndio wanatupea hapa mahali pa kujenga. Kwa nini serikali siangalia hao watu?
Samba tulikuwa napewa na 20,000 to 30 kwa room moja. Ndio nachenga. Hiyo ilikuwa maana ya kusaidiana.
The power lines ought to be maintained in order to assure safe and reliable services, but this proves to be a difficult task. Some of the areas we visited, the residents are using the electric poles as pillars to support their houses. Well, to the people of Mukuru, as you can see behind me, it's business as usual. They're continuing with life, but little do they know that those cables behind me dangling could take their lives in a split of a second.
In the event that that line gets cut, or in the event that one of the poles collapses, then the whole line will collapse on those structures. Yeah, and it will be disaster.
Last year in Mukuru Kayaba and Mukuru Fuata Nyayo slums, 600 families were rendered homeless after a fire gutted their homes. Investigations revealed that someone threw an object at these power line cables carrying 66,000 kilovolts of power, which triggered the fire.
And the challenge is in discipline and impunity. I mean, how can you arrive from wherever destination you have been? That wayleave trace has been there for the last several years, more than 10 years, and you begin to settle underneath, notwithstanding the advice that we give you as we maintain the line.
The residents not only risk electrocution or an inferno, but also the long-term risk of radiation of magnetic fields produced by the overhead lines, which causes diseases like childhood leukemia. For now, the danger looms as the residents remain adamant that they will not move. Michael Njenga at Mukuru Slums, Nairobi.